I started my whole journey, my satirical journey, or my video journey, my content creation journey 3 years ago now, actually, when the pandemic hit. It was almost like there were veils in front of my eyes all this while, and those veils were gradually lifted or actually ripped apart.
That was content creator and comedian Dr. Medusa speaking at UMSI. And this is Information Changes Everything, where we put the spotlight on news and research from the world of information science. You're going to hear from experts, students, researchers, and people making a real difference. As always, we're presented by the University of Michigan School of Information, better known around here as UMSI. Learn more about us at si.umich.edu. Today, we'll hear from comedian and satirist Dr. Medusa. And no, that's not her real name, but we'll get to that in a minute. Dr. Medusa was invited to speak at the University of Michigan's 2023 Social Media and Society in India Symposium. The annual event is organized by Associate Professor of Information Joyjit Paul and co-sponsored by us. Before we jump in, a few other people and projects that you should know about. Students can't get enough artificial intelligence. More than 20,000 people have enrolled in online AI classes since 2022, and the university has plans to launch more than 35 short online artificial intelligence courses in 2024. UMSI faculty have been tapped to develop 2 of them. You'll be able to sign up for them in July. UMSI students aren't shying away from problems. As reported on our website, graduate student Christine Carruthers is blending her public health background with a newfound passion for health informatics. She's exploring how data and technology can improve healthcare for those who need it most, like researching drug payment assistance programs and creating data visualizations for Michigan medicine. Carruthers envisions a future where better use of information can help change care for the better. What is information? That's the title of a new video released by Cliff Lampy, Professor of Information and Associate Dean for Academic Affairs. The goal is to help prospective students wrap their heads around the amazing things that are happening at UMSI. He explains that while information science is really a broad field, it's experiencing a gold rush right now, reshaping every industry from entertainment to business to education to healthcare, even democracy itself. For more on all of these stories, check out si.umich.edu or find the links in our show notes. Now, let's get back to Dr. Medusa. During the University of Michigan's Social Media and Society in India Symposium, attendees had the chance to hear from Dr. Medusa. Again, she's a teacher, a content creator, and a comedian. And at the start of the pandemic, she began creating satirical videos as a way to comment on India's politics. Her parodies have since gone viral, but it hasn't been all fun and games. She's worked hard to keep her identity a secret to protect herself from potential retaliation. Today, we'll share an excerpt of her talk where she discusses the inspiration behind her work, how she deals with trolls, and what's next.
Every time I'm asked to give a speech, I have always tried to come up with something profound, something very serious, something very intellectual, something that you can take back and, oh, wow, what a speech. But I have never been able to do something like that. So I'll start with one of my very favorite poets, really recent favorite poets, words. His name is Puneet Sharma, and he says, मेरे देश से मेरा सीधा रिश्ता है, तुम कौन हो बे? क्यों बताऊं तुमको कितना गहरा है, तुम कौन हो बे? Translated, I have a direct relationship with my country. Who the fork are you? Why should I tell you how intense my relationship with my country is? So this is the relationship. The relationship I have with my country is the crux of the work which I do. My father is a writer. And like I said, I have always wanted to say something profound because there's one time when he was giving an interview and he said something so profound that it has actually laid the foundation of what I feel towards my country, my relationship with my country, or my conceptualization of country and motherland. So my dad told in an interview once that he thinks, because he writes short stories and his short stories are lot of the time they're based in his village, in his motherland, where he grew up. So he talks about how he feels like a tortoise, which is carrying their village or carrying its home around with them. that was my first conceptualization of country, of motherland, of home. So I think of my nation as a home, and it's because something is wrong with my home that I am compelled to do what I do. I started my whole journey, my satirical journey, or my video journey, my content creation journey 3 years ago now, actually, when the pandemic hit. When the pandemic hit, it was almost like there were veils in front of my eyes all this while, and those veils were gradually lifted or actually ripped apart. Because while you're living your life, you have this understanding. If you are educated, if you are woke, if you understand social justice and all those things, you have an understanding. You see it from a distance. If you have any kind of privilege, caste privilege, class privilege, economic privilege, gender privilege, and I think that distance for me was very pronounced because I understood what social justice is, why it is necessary, but I had never done anything on my own part, anything concrete to, contribute towards shortening the gap or lessening the gap between the haves and the have-nots. So when the pandemic hit, I was very comfortably sitting in my house. I had a salary coming in. I had food. I had a car. I had lots of time to make dalgona coffee and so on and so forth. But I realized, and then, lots of time for TV as well. So you're watching TV, you see this hordes of people traveling or moving from one part to another because the places which they literally built, they abandoned them. These places said, we do not have any space for you. We do not have resources for you. And that is something, the movement of this entire jatha or this group of people from one place to another, when that started happening, it was a very rude awakening. Like I said, it was like ripping apart of the veil in front of me, and I could see the injustice. I could see the difference in their privilege and mine. And that is what compelled me to start the first satirical series, which I have. I have 3. The first one was a neighborhood teacher. And it's because I am a teacher. My mother is a teacher. My mother has taught me everything that I know. So I absolutely honor and love the profession that I am in. And I thought, this is something I know. This is something I know how to do. And if I am to contribute, or if I am to change anything in any way, this is how I know how to do it. Again, this might sound, or I would like to put a very honorable view to what I'm doing. But in reality, it comes from an extremely personal, extremely private, and extremely selfish place. Because I know that if I don't do it, I will have a psychological breakdown. I will end up depressed. I will end up at a therapist, or because there is so much guilt, and there is so much survivor's guilt. There is privileged guilt. There's so much of this desire in me to do something and not being able to do it, not being physically able to do it. Because like Meena is there. Meena is physically present on the field. She's doing for her community. Saurav sir is there. He is physically present in the field, reporting from places which are difficult, reporting from places which are dangerous. So that difference, that understanding that I'm not on the field and I'm very comfortable, that guilt. So my satire comes from a personal, private, and selfish place. But yet I want to share it with the world. I think that there is nothing, not a lot very honorable about it, because I'm doing it for myself. I want to stay sane. I want to keep a grip on what is happening around me, and have this idea that Nene, I have also contributed in the creation of an alternative discourse in the presence of a narrative that is so strong, that is so well funded and so technical in creating and nurturing fear and hatred. So at least it's for my sake, but I am very happy and I'm very honored that some of you, all of you, those of you who have invited me here, those of you who listen to me, who are listening to me, who follow me on the social media platforms, I'm very honored that you think that it's a good thing that I'm doing, and you are with me in this journey, and you are supporting me in this journey. I'm very thankful for that. So my first series was The Neighborhood Teacher, and I use language to talk satire. I use language to comment on political events, political issues, policies, etc. One of my first videos which I made was on coordinating conjunctions. I talked about how coordinating conjunctions are used, And there is an acronym which we use to teach coordinating conjunctions, which is fanboys. So fan, F for for, A for N for nor, B for but, O for or, Y for yet, and S for so. So fanboys. So I talked about in that particular video, I talked about how if you ever forget what are your coordinating conjunctions, just switch on any news channel and look at one of the news anchors who is there in Times Now or Aaj Tak or any other news channel. Just look at how they are talking about our very honorable Prime Minister. And you will figure out you will remember, this is a fanboy. So, okay, fanboys is the acronym which I need to remember coordinating conjunctions. So that was picked up and that was very popular. And I thought that, okay, this is maybe something which I can do. And I had fun that, that momentary pleasure that it gives you, that your work is being recognized. People like it. People are liking and commenting and sharing. That's like a hit, So that was also there. I'll not lie that I don't like when that happens, when a video does well. I do, but that's not the reason I started, and that's not the reason I continued, and that's not the reason I will continue. And then a series which I started was Dukh Darshan. Dukh Darshan is a deadpan delivery of news events which have happened during the week. And I do that in a satirical sense. I use punchlines and I try to make it, in fact, you know what? It's like somebody said yesterday, you don't even have to try to write satire. It just writes itself. You just need to look at your politicians. You need to look at the media, and the satire writes itself. Sometimes you just have to repeat things which politicians have said, and it becomes comedy. So Dukh Darshan is something which I do on a weekly level, and I think as a linguist, because that's my primary occupation. As a linguist, I look at languages all the time. The language of social media, the language we speak with each other, the language we speak with different classes of people. And when all of this was happening in the past 2-3, not just the past 2-3 years, in the past decade, actually, almost a decade now, the way the language of the media has changed, it's so much that instead of their job of delivering information, they are now creating information and first of all, they were creating opinion, and now they're creating information. So when I looked at the media, when I looked at language during this, because when the first series, the Neighborhood Teacher series, started becoming popular, I decided, okay, now I need to make it more, there needs to be more punch in the satire, because just having that one persona was not fitting in with the ideas that had started to come into my head, that had actually started to burst into my head. So I looked at the language and I saw the media and the way they are using language to create opinion, to create information, to peddle disinformation. I realized that it is very important that to have an alternate persona to show how they are doing it, what exactly is the mechanism behind it, by critiquing it in the form of the old way of delivery of news and information in India. So that was why I started Dukh Darshan, and I tried to use language to subvert the very language the mainstream media was trying to use. Next, the final part of my talk and the final series which I have is the NTPC helpline. The NTPC helpline is National Troll Prashikshan Center. So it's a helpline which trains trolls on how to troll. So because, while I was doing this, while both the series were becoming popular, obviously the trolls arrived. And once the trolls arrived, they had the exact same things on loop. They'd say the exact same things. If you're a woman, they'll character assassinate you. All of the stuff that they will say will be misogynistic. If you are not conventionally beautiful, they'll comment on your face. They'll comment on your features. They'll be racist. They will be casteist and all sorts of things. From my surname, you can't really figure out what my caste is. So, of course, they decided to be racist because I have Mongoloid features. So I thought, I'm pretty sure that these guys, what they do is they get a script from somewhere, and that's what they do. They just copy paste stuff and then they get their payment. So as members of the troll army. So I thought, let's pretend that I am the one who is giving them the script, and they are the ones who are reading it, and they're the ones who are just copying and pasting it. So that became extremely popular because people started resonating with the fact that it's quite possible that this is how it happens. And I have been told a number of times that probably this is exactly how it happens. So all my work, all my videos, the series which I had created, all of them have come from very personal experiences, like I said. And today I'm sharing that with you. And I hope that the personal and private and selfish act, my selfish act, and I thank you for honoring that selfish act. And I hope that I can continue to be this selfish and keep creating.
You can watch Dr. Medusa's full talk and slides by clicking the link in our show notes. To learn more about upcoming events and conversations like this, visit us at si.umich.edu. And tune in next time to hear from Angli Drabinski, the president of the American Library Association. Drabinski addresses the attacks on libraries and librarians happening across the country.
For many of us, I think figuring out who we are, especially as queer people, requires this kind of privacy, and is why we go to the library. I keep returning to this study that I read from the Human Rights Campaign, and the study reported that while a majority of trans and gender variant students reported feeling safe in the library, to the tune of like 60% every day felt unsafe in their school, more than 90% reported feeling safe in their school library. These books matter. The institution of the library matters. It matters most to our young people, to our most vulnerable.
That's in our next episode. Before we go, did you know that the University of Michigan offers 3 different master's degrees in information science? And you can start with an undergraduate degree in almost any field. Check out all the possibilities at si.umich.edu. The University of Michigan School of Information creates and shares knowledge so that people will use information with technology to build a better world. Don't forget to subscribe to Information Changes Everything on your favorite podcasting platform. If you have any questions, comments, or episode ideas, send us an email at umsipodcast@umich.edu.